what a perfectly adequate movie. Perfectly adequate. Now, I know that because of previous movies, the Amazeball Spooter Bros series of is really set the bar low. Yeah, I know that hearing adequate might feel like a step in the right direction, but I don't know. I think a lot of people are going to come away from this movie feeling that it's going to be pretty good, but they were going to expect more than what they got.
It met my expectations, and that doesn't sound great, but it that's not so bad.
No,
Meeting expectations isn't bad because I guess seeing movies every week, we set our expectations a little bit high. I mean, when we say expectations, we mean like, or at least for me, it means that I'm going to enjoy it.
yeah.
It's that simple.
Like, however, by whatever means the movie is enjoyable,
Yeah.
it will try to entertain us at the very least, or engage us. And yeah, this movie does that. It doesn't do anything more than that.
And if I only saw, like 2 movies a year, this might be like, oh my god, that was amazing! Like, that really was the best movie by Marvel film ever.
Yeah, but even if, like, even judging it by other Marvel movies or even comic book movies that have been released this year, this is easily the like this is easily the bottom rung. Then again, it was released against Wonder Woman and it was released against
Guardians.
Guardians too. So
Man, those are the power movies.
yeah, so I wouldn't necessarily like when I say like it's the third worst, the third worst movie released this year, and it wasn't even all that bad. That really shows you how kind of strong this year has been for comic book movies, especially.
Yeah, I'm super proud. Super proud.
There hasn't been a week leak yet, but then again, Justice League has yet to come out. So
Oh god.
we're all
It does not look good to me. It looks bad.
and we're all waited with a bated breath for that one. But
It looks very like, oh, we did good. See, she's in this.
well, while we wait with a bated breath on that one, that's in the future. This is the present, and the present is Spider-Man: Homecoming, which I don't know, not necessarily a very good title considering. I mean, like
The only thing that was really related was the fact that there was a homecoming dance. So, but that's not really relevant until the very scene that you get to it.
It's not even all that relevant at all.
Even during, actually, in its own scene, he doesn't actually go to it.
He's
Really,
just there
he goes there for like 10 seconds, then leaves, and that's the homecoming dance scene.
Although they did play a very killer Flock of Seagulls song during it, so...
Oh yeah, Falling in Love.
Oh, no, Space Age Love Song.
Space Age Love Song, right, yeah.
Oh, shit, man. The copyright bots are going to flag us.
No!
You're just singing too well, man. You're just too on point. Even without a backing band, you're going to confuse the bots.
Shit. Because that song is so popular.
And it doesn't matter how popular it is. If it's in the database, it's in the database. But yeah, like as a movie, I think that the only fair way to judge it is by other Spider-Man movies, and of the 5 that have been released, plus this one, which makes 6.
Oh, I'm really curious to see where this comes out. I know 2 of the original 3 is going to be your favorite. Still.
Actually, I know that we discussed this on the way out, on the way there rather. You said Spider-Man 1 was your favorite still.
Okay, well, the thing is, it's been a long freaking time since I saw the original 3. Well, actually 3 I saw a lot more recently because I just didn't see it when it came out.
Yeah, I saw it night 1. I saw it on the preview night, and I actually dragged my dad to see it.
Man, that one pissed me off. Pissed everybody off, I guess.
It pretty much did, but it had its moments. Namely, Sandman had.
They fucked Venom so hard that it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had fanboy tears.
I wasn't a big Venom fanboy, so I wasn't really all that miffed by it.
Yeah, like Nightcrawler and Venom were like, my guys as a kid.
So, like, twisting of the knife as far as Spider-Man 3 is concerned. I get that. I sincerely get that. But I left Spider-Man 3 thinking, it was alright. I mean, it was kind of the jumbled mess of a movie, but it didn't necessarily leave like I was betrayed, like some people were with that movie. That Spider-Man 3 still gets a bad rap to this day. I'm not going to defend it by saying it's a good movie, but I don't think it deserves...
It's still better than the ones that followed.
Oh, yeah. Like, I think in retrospect, can we all just agree that the Amazeball Spooter Bro makes Spider-Man 3 look like a goddamn godsend?
Yeah.
Which I think is a contradiction in terms, but regardless. So seeing those two movies really puts the last three movies in perspective, and and then in comes this movie, which is supposed to be, in comes Homecoming, which I think is supposed to be like a tabula rasa, like forget the last five movies, and for the most part it succeeds by doing pretty much the opposite of what those movies did. One, not a nary a mention of Uncle Ben, nary a mention,
Yep.
not even one.
And there was only a mention of the spider once.
Just like in passing. So, I mean,
And that was that it's dead. And maybe that was a comment about a past film, but
you could interpret it as some kind of meta commentary on the status of the last two series, but those are dead. Yeah, the only passing mention of the spider's like, could I get a bite of that spider? Like his best friend wants to get spider powers too, and
I mean that's what you would ask.
yeah, like could I get spider powers? Like no, the spider's dead.
And about the friend, can I just get to the friend?
Oh well, I wanted to.
All
finish-
right, go ahead. Do the thing that makes sense.
Yeah, I just wanted to finish my thought about like how it separates itself from other Spider-Man movies.
And keep your structure.
My one no mention of Uncle Ben, very few mentions of the spider, and three, and this was kind of like the the freshness of this series is that no mention of anything about responsibility or great power.
I didn't really think about that. You're right.
Yeah,
it wasn't at all.
It wasn't all. I mean, it was like hinted at by the plot of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, like,
but
Tony Stark kind of implies that.
Implies that without actually saying.
But I mean, every fucking superhero movie implies that.
But insofar as way more so in this movie, that in the Spider-Man mythos rather than in any other superhero.
I mean, when you think about it, every superhero movie has that message to a lot of extent, actually.
Yeah, but
But Spider-Man's the only one that actually goes outright and says it.
It's like it codified it.
Yeah.
It literally makes it the
codified it.
Yeah, like literally makes it the coda of the story. So to see them do that in their own way without actually expressly repeating the line, I think it was all right.
Yeah.
That's the strength of the story, which took 6 screenwriters for some god awful reason. Like maybe they were just trying to take some like patches of the previous story that they were going to make out of Amazing Spider-Man 3 and then just refurbish that, and then they refurbished that. And considering the developmental hell that must have been, they came out with a pretty good movie, all things considered. But
they did say friendly neighborhood Spider-Man line though.
Quite a bit actually. But yeah, let's talk about the friend there for a moment.
Yeah, I didn't like it that much.
Nah,
kind of got on my nerves a little bit. Not too much, but a little bit.
Yeah, like they put him back in high school, which say what you will about Spider-Man, always having to learn the lesson of power and responsibility over and over and over again, and now we're going to send him back to high school where he has to learn it over and over and over again. Really speaks to the hell that character goes through.
Yeah, it's like, why did Tony Stark feel he had to pass any kind of test or anything? I mean, high school, man, he's more qualified than none of the other Avengers ever went to high school.
Not seemingly.
No, they went to like private schools and shit.
Like
probably.
Thor.
Like
Thor.
Thor went to Asgardian school for like breaking your drinking glasses or something.
And if Black Widow went to high school, she doesn't remember it. Oh, got both cheeks into that one. But yeah, you could say that like them being in high school was kind of a step back, but fresh start. That's where you go. And I suppose it could have been way more annoying. But I remember being at the beginning of this movie, and just hating Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I just hated him.
Yeah.
Because he was such a gibbering, squeeing little, shit. And that's what the character calls for. I get it, but like, one of my pet peeves as far as storytelling is concerned is the coming of age story of a kid being a little snotty shit, learning not to be a snotty shit, because even though that is an arc, that's sort of like, why didn't you learn this before? My life is constantly surrounded by snotty little shits that didn't complete this arc. Why do I want to watch you learn to be a basic human being? God's sake.
Yeah.
And like, there's no satisfaction to be gained by seeing that arc. It's just like, He's a snotty little shit that annoys the crap out of you at the beginning of the movie, and at the end of the movie, he's not a snotty little shit that annoys the crap out of you. Doesn't make up for the fact that he was annoying the shit out of you at the beginning of the movie. Like, I don't get any kind of closure from that. I don't get any kind of enjoyment from that.
I felt like this movie could have just bypassed the entire origin completely with the way they handled it. Because it felt the whole time like they wanted to.
Yeah, like the vestiges of the previous scripts or definitely felt more towards the beginning than towards the end.
Yeah.
Especially with the way they were jumbling the origin of Vulture, which, by the way, they never mentioned him by name. They just call him Winged Guy.
I don't have really any knowledge of Vulture.
Yeah, like nor do I. But it interests me like how even when Marvel is trying their damnedest to be as faithful as they can to the stories, and trying to be earnest with these stories, even they at times can't bring themselves to go whole hog on it. Like they'll go whole hog in something like Guardians of the Galaxy. With the whole Groot and Rocket Raccoon and embracing the silliness there, but the silliness that will be found in other stories is just, no, let's just kind of back away there, like Bartok Ziliper. Like the blink and you'll miss it bad guy from Iron Man 3, I want to say? Yeah, was it Iron? Yeah, like during the beginning of Iron Man 3 where there was this one mercenary guy who was just, who was just kicking all kinds of ass, and then Iron Man just kind of stops him and just gets the plot going. Mm-hmm. That guy, that was Batroc Ziliper. He was a French acrobat. And that was his, one real, supervillain power. That was him, but they never called him Ziliper. I know, right? It's just weird. And here we see it again, where it's the somewhat serious Spider-Man, and no one's ever talks about, hey, that's the Vulture, but he's not calling himself the Vulture. So I guess he is kind of?
Birdman.
Yeah, I know. He actually kind of reminded me more of Firefly from Batman Arkham Origins. Except without the flamethrower, that's about it. Well, then again, those futuristic weapons he was wielding might as well have been a flamethrower.
How did you get? They were getting scraps from various wreckages from the Avengers bouts of. I think that one of the weapons they were using, his crew was using, was the arm of Voltron or something. They said, or came off the.
Yeah, it was very they were kind of hush hush about where and what was going on.
They were kind of mean to Voltron. Did you know they had his head fall out of a crate and roll off? They're just like, oh, don't need that.
I don't need that. It's that was. It's the worst Avengers movie released yet. There's only been 2, but
that was harsh.
It was kind of harsh. But
Voltron was the only good part of that.
Ultron.
Sorry, Ultron. Voltron. Fuck. Why am I?
God dang it. Yeah, he was such a great part of the movie that you got his name wrong. I think this is kind of a Peter Weller moment.
Yeah, it is. Peter Wells. Yeah. Ultron. Just move on.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about Vulture.
That's why Vulture,
yeah.
Ultron, Vulture. Yeah, that's why.
But Vulture to me felt. It felt like the story was trying to prop himself up as a more important villain than he actually wound up being. Outside of a twist towards the end, which we won't really get into, I don't think, is he felt like there was more to his character than the movie showed.
Yeah, he wasn't the most developed.
Which is weird because obviously they wanted more out of him. I mean, considering how the movie ended.
It's Michael Keaton. He could have given it. He's perfectly capable, but they just
I don't know.
Fell a little short.
Yeah, there was some interesting beats with his character, especially his rapport with Spider-Man, that I feel like there's more to be tapped into, but the first movie doesn't really doesn't really utilize it all that much.
You know what's missing that really could have helped develop his character is if they had a certain scene that was just his scene, and he has his Vulture head on a chair and he has a monologue with it.
I knew you were going to go for the Willem Dafoe scene. But that actually does remind me, I need to pick up this little part of the conversation that I left dangling at the beginning, where I had to talk about how I feel about Spider-Man Homecoming in reference to the entire canon of Spider-Man films. I still think Spider-Man 2 is the best.
Mhm.
But I'll be the first to tell you on subsequent viewings, it gets worse for me every single time. Then again, I'm a Doc Ock fanboy, so and Alfred Molina was the Doc Ock. There was no J.K. Simmons is J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah, some people are
Yeah.
born for the roles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alfred Molina, Otto Octavius.
Great.
Yeah.
I have to go watch that movie again. Obviously,
Like
since
you'll
it's so-
now be like you haven't watched that movie since it came out, right?
Yep.
So
That's right.
being better versed in Sam Raimi's
I'm
direct,
basically a completely different person than I was
Yeah.
when I saw it. So I can't.
I think you'll like it more
Yeah.
because you'll definitely catch on to Sam Raimi's predilections towards his kind of camera act. Like when you have like the camera focusing on Doc Ock's claws coming in like that, you'll
Well, I remember his character was the most compelling. I mean,
Yeah.
which is as it should have been. But
yeah, like he definitely had a like. If you go back to those Sam Raimi films, you'll be amazed to see how many like 1930s and 40s monster films how they can feel, especially with the villains, because pretty much every single one of them has that moment of like ultimate like suffering where they just kind of bellow out to the heavens. Sandman had that with the little like when he realized he's a sand monster and he has the little clutching in the little portrait of his wife and child.
cats shitting me.
No. Same thing with Doctor Octopus, and he's just like, I'm a monster, and that's
No.
like there's quite a lot of those beats in the original three movies, and they can be cheesy at points, but I think the movies themselves do a good job in playing them off as earnestly as possible. I don't think Homecoming could have moments like that and still be earnest. In fact, I think this movie actually kind of plays against the earnesty of Spider-Man a lot of times.
Yeah, there was a lot of beats where it was supposed to be okay. I know I'm supposed to find this funny and laugh, but I'm not really because it's so it's such a already tread upon trope. It's like
Not even like that. I mean, like when we're talking about like moments about like him trying to be Spider-Man and be a hero is always
Yeah.
undercut with him just being lame. And while that might be necessarily true to the character, in some circles, I mean, like he's still like 15 in this movie, I believe. You could understand that they're trying to, not play him up to be a hero, but rather a hero in training, superhero in training.
yes.
Who were Ruthless Aggression Era Wrestling. Ah.
Gotta build his bulge for.
Yeah, for SummerSlam, but even with that in mind, I feel like a lot of like the undercutting of the Spider-Man mythos was just to either swerve the audience or
Yeah.
to just kind of be this acerbic like, yeah, isn't this kind of dumb?
I remember thinking to myself that this is very appropriate. I think they did a good job of getting it right, and I just realized, I guess that this is just not really the genre, or this isn't really the hero that I get a lot of satisfaction from.
Yeah,
Because
like,
it felt like they were doing it right. I just
but
wasn't really digging it that much.
yeah, like they were getting it right because for the most part it's a high school movie. Because it's just like the high school. Oh no, the big dance is coming up. As we said, the big dance isn't really just. It's like a plot point, but it's not necessarily what. Like, there's no mention of it until like towards the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, like it becomes an important plot point. But I have a feeling that in certain drafts of this movie, they were keep mentioning it like the big dance is coming up. Who am I gonna take?
The film had problems.
The film had problems, especially with that. But like
Calling it Homecoming made no sense, really.
it's like it's true to the genre that
Yeah.
it was. I mean, like that's like those are the typical tropes by which the movie operates by. But it's not necessarily like we're in our late 20s.
Yeah.
High school is way past us.
Yeah.
Seeing this kind of bullshit doesn't really do anything for us other than like, god damn, high school was lame.
Yeah.
But to the key demographic, your 13 to 17-year-olds, they're going to look at that and just that's going to be their
That's a good point.
that's going to be their seminal
I
movie.
think that's pretty much the feeling.
Yeah, like we had Superbad as our kind of high school movie, the movie that was more true to high school, to the high school experience. I think I find, I'm not necessarily saying that Spider-Man: Homecoming is going to be that true to life. Yeah, I remember when I shot sticky fluids and was awkward around girls as I shot sticky fluids.
He's a superhero, but he also has normal people things.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's if it was Homecoming's usually like a threequel kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's not usually what you'd name your first film.
Yeah. Also, this isn't. I don't think I could. This is technically a spoiler because you find out about this at the beginning of the movie. But yeah, Eddie Brock is in it, but they never call him Eddie Brock. They keep calling him Flash. Even this teacher's calling him
That
Flash.
was Eddie Brock.
That was supposed to be Eddie Brock. Yeah.
How do you know? Did they ever call him Eddie? Or something?
No, but they keep calling him Flash, and that was his nickname.
Was that Eddie Brock's nickname?
Yeah, I believe so.
I don't.
Yeah, like I believe it was.
I know.
I could be
know.
completely.
I like Venom, and I don't know that. I'm not a comic guy.
Yeah, like
It was.
Flash. Like
Yeah.
they kept calling him Flash. My problem with the character was they kept calling him Flash, but they never. God damn it. Here's where my Spider-Man here's where I get a little confused here. Like I always get these two characters mixed up. Like it could be that Flash is also Electro, but then that doesn't really make sense either. Like this is where my Spider-Man mythos knowledge completely fails me. So
Okay.
put a little asterisk here about whether or not I was right or not. Anyway, point being,
Okay.
my point being is like that character is in a science-oriented high school.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's all in the science. Where the hell does he get off being a bully? Like he's like he's like
Stupid nerd.
like he's like this jock. He acts like the typical jock nerd. He calls him Penis Parker and such. But like
Maybe that's just a point of pride being the bully at a school like that. It's like,
'Cause
I'm the tough nerd here. I don't know.
you know, like he looks like such a chump. I mean, like Flash. No, it was Flash Thompson. That was it. Flash Thompson. Completely missing the point. But that was Flash Thompson. Flash Thompson's in the movie. And you remember Flash Thompson in the first Spider-Man? He was like this big guy who got dunked on by all that food. Like when Peter was first learning his Spider-Man powers.
Okay.
Like he shot his web and like, oh, holy shit! And then all of a
Also,
sudden,
he's not Eddie Brock.
so he's not Eddie Brock. No,
Oh, okay.
that was complete like, that was like,
Okay.
I already corrected myself right there. But that's Flash Thompson.
Okay.
All right. No, completely different character. But anyway, he shot his web, flew, like tray of food fell back and landed on the bully.
And then he gets pissed off.
Yeah, like
I
that
remember,
was
yeah.
Flash Thompson in the
Okay.
first movie. That looked like a bully.
Yeah.
This guy looks like a leftover who didn't get cast in the last Airbender movie.
Yeah, that's good. He really did. Yeah.
Which is really, really bad. In fact, I think he might actually have been in the last Airbender, and I just didn't recognize him. Then again, I try to, disintegrate all the memories I have with that
I
goddamn.
never watched that movie.
Oh, God. And there's also, I think a lot of people were getting I remember there was being some people getting pissed off by, the love interest, because people thought they were like, oh, Mary Jane is, like black in this movie? Well, calm your tits, nerds. She's not MJ, nor is she Gwen, so there you are. She's just a completely made-up character for this movie.
But MJ.
Yeah, MJ.
Are we spoiling? Or...
I think, yeah, let's spoil this right here.
MJ's black.
Yeah, MJ is not a redhead first and foremost. MJ comes out of nowhere too, which is weird because she's not Mary Jane. Like her name is not Mary Jane at all. Yet her nickname is MJ for some reason.
They called her MJ, and
At the end of the movie, it's like some big huge reveal, and it's like, why?
yeah. Well, I mean, you don't make that big reveal at the end of a movie with a character that's been, consistently throughout the film, and
Yeah.
it's not actually the same. It's like, no, it's Mickey James.
I have no idea why people call her MJ. Apparently, she doesn't have any friends, so she just calls herself MJ because, I don't know, she was a huge Chicago Bulls fan in the early 90s, before she was even a sperm.
So it's obviously Mary Jane.
So it's obviously Mary Jane, which is weird because in high school it was supposed to be Gwen. Yeah, like Gwen Stacy, and
Well, so basically it's like, oh no, Mary Jane's black. It's like, no, don't worry, that love interest wasn't actually Mary Jane, but Mary Jane's still black. You must be so embarrassed.
you must
But
be
yeah.
so embarrassed about a fictional character that has no bearing on your real life whatsoever. That is awful. Just awful. No, they're not the turns so far. I think that was just a stupid turn. Really,
It's just like
I don't give a shit if that character was Mary Jane Watson or not.
The character wasn't important in the movie, or
All she
did
was
hardly
like
did
this-
anything. He flips him off once.
Like she was like this weird comic relief. You know what she was? She was like that weird girl who flicked her dandruff on her book in the
Yeah.
middle of Breakfast
the
Club.
Breakfast Club. She was
Yeah,
the
like-
one with all the shit in the purse. Yeah.
Yeah, that was that character, except more acerbic, and then
So they've completely changed Mary Jane,
yeah. So they just make her into this weird,
not just aesthetically, but
completely
but yeah, character-wise,
character-wise, like
it's completely different.
yeah, absolutely. Which if they're with this kind of Spider-Man they're going for, is like I don't really have a problem with that at all.
I don't
but
give a shit.
It's like I'm not losing sleep whether or not she like Mary Jane Watson is true to the comic books, because a lot of things aren't true to the comic books and they still can be good movies. My one thinking though, my one actual problem, if I had one huge overarching problem with the movie, and I think it's just that for a superhero movie, it always seemed like they were trying to make Peter learn a lesson, but Peter was kind of right about everything. So, what lesson did he really learn?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, Tony Stark actually kind of learned a little bit from him.
Yeah, exactly.
At the end there,
so, as far as a coming of age story is concerned, it's the only real lesson that Peter comes out with is hey, don't do things about your station. But at the end of the day, he did the best he could with the situation that he was calling
Shit,
for.
he was actually, without spoiling, responsible for a big turn of events for Tony Stark's life.
Yeah,
If you think about it,
if you really think about it, yeah.
That's a big decision.
It's he just kind of shoehorned in, which I thought was more funny than anything. But I think the lesson here, the lesson that Peter Parker was supposed to learn by the end of all this, is don't be afraid to rely on others. That your part's supposed to be important. But then it kept getting undercut because it just felt like everyone was ignoring him. And then it's not really a spoiler because you see it in the previews. When the whole fairy scene where they again homage Spider-Man 2 by him being the crucifixion pose and everything, and then Iron Man saves the day and tells him give me the suit. You're way out of control and everything.
Doing things that heroes do. God.
trying to stop the bad guys,
You're supposed to be saving cats. Come on.
saving exactly,
Etc. Etc.
Exactly. So from Peter's perspective,
Inspector Gadget. Here.
yeah, I know, but from Peter's perspective, no one's doing anything to stop this. Even though Tony says that he called the FBI on this, what could the FBI really have done? Nothing. They're trying to shoot at this. They're shooting.
Well, they actually were. They did try to do something,
and they didn't do anything. So. What would the FBI have done in that situation? Jack of shit. So, as far as Spider-Man's concerned, he's been in the right.
Why doesn't he just call Tony?
Because Tony, he says it he tried to call Tony, and then apparently he believed him, but not believe him strongly enough to actually take matters into his own hands. Just call in the ineffectual FBI.
So he did call Tony?
Because remember, Tony
that's
said,
right.
Because Tony said that he called the FBI, and that's
right.
why the FBI was on the ferry.
So the FBI was on the ferry. The FBI did jack diddly shit because they, super villains,
Super villains using alien weaponry against FBI agents with pistols. In fact, those FBI agents probably would have been killed if not for Spider-Man actually providing.
Yeah. So he did the only thing he could do.
He saved the he
Nobody
saved a
else
lot.
was there.
Yeah, exactly. Those FBI agents, he would have saved it. Seriously, they would have saved him because, there's a scene where Peter Parker, Spider-Man rather, just yanks a guy out of the way from an oncoming car. So,
Again, why am I surprised? Tony Stark he's kind of crazy at this point, for being honest with ourselves.
yeah, it's the movie's trying to put Tony Stark as the Uncle Ben archetype, Uncle Ben made flesh.
He keeps, people get into trouble and he feels guilty and he starts making bigger and bigger and more advanced suits, like he gives Peter Parker he gives him an Iron Man suit basically because it's the Spider-Man suit, it's, latex and everything like that or whatever it is, or latex. It had to be really funny though.
Oh yeah, like
But
the spider gimp.
Like it's Spider. No, I mean it's spandex or whatever, or whatever the fuck that ballistic fiber stuff is, and it has a voice mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
It has a computer in it, just like the Iron Man suit, and it's a woman's voice. And actually, I almost wondered if it was Scarlett Johansson,
Like again.
like her.
Like her again.
Yeah, her. But like later on, I was wondering, like later on, he finds out that Tony Stark used Black Widow's voice for his. It's like, why did you do that? I fell in love with the voice in the suit. This is awkward.
Anyway, but like yeah, like it's basically an Iron Man suit, just not nearly as protective. It even has a Jarvis suite on it.
Yeah, so Tony keeps making all this stuff to try to save people. The only way he can, that he knows, which is making shit.
Yeah,
And he's kind of nuts at this point, because...
and further to the point, and like dovetailing off your point about there, why would you give a 15-year-old boy an Iron Man suit and then tell him to not use it?
And also give it an instant kill option.
Why in the world? Yeah, like even though that's supposed to be like played off as a gag, it's really a part of his suit. Like there is an instant kill option.
It comes up twice. The suit really wants to use it. And I am not as surprised again. He's crazy. Tony's fucking crazy.
Yeah, like I mean,
he's like, I need to protect this kid. It's like, he has to have a kill option because what if it's like the only way to save him? I'm not going to have him die. That's not going to be on my conscience. He's going to kill somebody else, and it may not be the best thing for him, but at least he'll be alive.
I mean, yeah, and then I'm going to take away this thing and then instill in him the virtue of being a hero. But I'm going to take away this suit that could help him. Woo! I'm going to needlessly endanger him because of our civil war that kind of happened, but then maybe not have happened because apparently, like, all right, my favorite part of the movie is these little cameos by Captain America. Big surprise.
Yeah, I think that's everybody could
like big surprise. Captain America is the best part of this movie, but he only appears in like these educational, like made for school videos where he's literally turning the chair around, just sitting down like this. Hi, I'm Captain America. Mind if we rap a bit? I've been hearing that you're having some difficulties in school. Well, take it from me. I was frozen for 60 years. And then, like, he would just leave. Like, we're talking
just like a Mass Effect exit.
It's like a purposefully cheesy educational film. But yeah, like there was a great turn by Hannibal Buress, who is played like a gym teacher and also a guy who like looks at the kids on detention, and he says, "It's like, yeah, that's Captain America. Like he's a war criminal or whatever." And I'm just thinking, like, that's funny, but that also kind of speaks to like how much of a jumbled mess the greater Marvel Cinematic Universe has become. Like, no one really knows why Captain America, like, what kind of side Captain America's on, because last I checked, at the end of it was like Winter Soldier, he's still a wanted criminal for releasing all that information.
And then there's the comic, which I don't know what's going on right now. I just remember Hail Hydra.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, well,
what the hell is Captain America, man?
from the Hail Hydra turn, which I don't know, like, maybe they retcon that back, or maybe they reveal whatever they're going to do with that.
Well, their timing wasn't the worst.
Strictly speaking with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I just feel like his presence, even though it was the funniest part of the movie and the best part of the movie, is also kind of indicative of the larger problems the cinematic universe has. Like, from a timeline perspective, it's revealed that, Vulture, Michael Keaton, was a part of the New York cleanup crew, and that he was muscled out by S.H.I.E.L.D., and that's why he turned to a life of crime by collecting all these alien weaponry, realizing that, if there's a lot of money to be made here. But from that perspective, from that point to the present, which 8 years has passed. 8 years have passed in this timeline, even though real life has only been 5 years. Mm-hmm. If I remember correctly, Avengers was released in 2012, I want to say. Yeah, 2012. Maybe 2010? Yeah.
No, it was not 2010. I'm pretty sure.
It might have been 2011, 2012, I think.
Let's see, Avatar was
2009.
2009, December of 2009.
Yeah.
Tron came out in 2010, which was the December of 2010, and I know Avengers was after that. I'm pretty sure both.
Yeah, so it's
It must have been 2011.
2011, 2012. So
12, yeah.
211, 212, either way,
12.
either way. So like they kind of flash forwarded a little bit,
Yeah.
as far as this time scale is concerned. So, but now we've so in the span between Avengers and Spider-Man: Homecoming, Winter Soldier happened. I'm guessing, but like how many years has Winter Soldier has been? And I guess from Hannibal Buress's perspective, like I can't keep track of this any more than you and the audience can, as far as the time scale is concerned. So maybe he's a war criminal, maybe he's not, maybe he's a traitor. I don't know. And he sells it with all the investment as like Carl from doing. I was like, he could be, he's a traitor or whatever. I don't know. You know, Bill Cosby's a rapist, right? That was the guy. Hannibal Buress was the guy who got that ball rolling.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was the comedian who went up on stage and said, like,
Oh, wow.
Bill
Okay.
Cosby was a rapist and relaunched the investigation. That's
Holy
it.
shit, okay.
Yeah. I mean,
So maybe Captain America's more...
Cannibal,
Oh, guys, we forgot about something.
Captain America's a racist.
Rapist. Captain America's a rapist.
I said racist.
Racist.
First. Which, guy from the 40s. Not hugely surprising. Blonde, blue-eyed, of course. That's super serum.
It was a different time.
It was a different time. Super soldier serums, Yeah. I don't know. I think I kind of spoken my piece about it. I found it it was entertaining enough, and going by the previews, I got exactly the movie I was expecting. I was annoyed by it at parts.
Yeah,
I
the
felt
friend was kind of like... And the problem was that the friend was a little too kind of appropriate, I guess.
Yeah, little too excitable. Little too excitable. He was at an 8. We
Yeah.
needed him more at a 6. He was way too excitable. The high school bullshit we could have done without, but then again, that's the character, so that's just kind of comes with the
a
territory.
lot of the stuff that we didn't enjoy is probably not necessarily stuff we don't agree with. Just didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, it's just like
Yeah.
it comes with the territory of being a high school movie. If that's more your bag, then more power to you. I don't think the story failed necessarily for being entertaining, but I do think the moral kind of failed. And I think it didn't really have strong enough legs to stand on from Peter Parker needed to learn a lesson. But as a popcorn flick, as far as summertime, I want to see Spider-Man, sling his webs, pew pew pew, and then we'll scratch your itch.
Could have had more. Well, they will.
Mm.
I actually really enjoyed Carol and him.
Carol?
Yeah, isn't that what he?
Oh
named
yeah, he did.
The voice computer, the computer
Oh
voice.
yeah, like his Jarvis.
His Jarvis, yeah.
His Jarvis is Carol.
I was a little worried about them and having him have the same, thing as Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought, God, I was like, this is some of the more enjoyable parts in the movie. Actually, listening to this.
One last thing before we sign off. Can we just say that, yes, we get it, movie. Marissa Tomei is young for an Aunt May. Can you stop having these moments where characters hit on her?
Oh, God, that got really old.
Yeah. The first 3 times she's ever been mentioned by character, it's by 3 different characters, and all of them had the exact same thing to say about her. Tony Stark, I hope you're wearing something skimpy. The sandwich guy, just saying,
You can have a free, give her free food or whatever.
Yeah, it was yeah, his aunt is hot. That was
winking, creepy. And
the Thai guy, the guy.
Oh, that's one I was.
Yeah, the Thai guy gave her free soup.
That's it. Yeah.
At the restaurant. It's the first time the very first interactions or telling of this character is all about how she's a MILF.
Yeah.
Or an elf.
It's
in
like,
this sense.
people really found that funny with Tony. Let's do it nonstop.
Well, after the 3rd time, they just dropped it.
Which
actually kind of goes back to the point of why did that Thai guy decide to give him her free soup? He was never in the movie again. At least the sandwich guy.
The whole point of having that was to establish that she is hot for an aunt and whatever.
Yeah, she's the hottest Aunt May we've ever had.
What do you call a MILF when it's an aunt?
Elf.
Alfie?
Elf. I'd say like, and I'd like to fuck you. Elf.
Okay. Elf.
An elf.
Elf.
An elf.
Like an elf. Okay. Elf. An
It's
elf.
Elf, starring Will Ferrell.
That does sound like a kind of thing he would be in. Not elf, but ale.
Elf.
Yeah. But so that got old.
But outside of that, she was all right. But then again, there wasn't really a lot she did, and it's like it was her turn as Aunt May was inoffensive at best because that's the majority of what she had. So not really much you could say about it.
There was one really funny scene. I guess the most funny scene for me was the interrogation voice.
Yeah, Donald Glover. Yeah,
Was that?
that was Donald Glover, childish Gambino himself in Spider-Man. He had a bit part, but he was like I remember like there were some murmurs of him trying to play Montel. Oh, what was his name? It's not Miles Montero. I forgot his name, but like the new Spider-Man. There's a new Spider-Man in the comics. His name is Miles. And there was some talk about Donald Glover playing him, but he's just in the Spider-Man. He's just in the Spider-Man
But
movie.
that voice.
Oh yeah,
interrogation thing was really, really funny.
Yeah,
It just came out. It surprised me. It was a humor that surprised me, and that just, I had a spit take almost of that.
Yeah, that was a brilliant little bit. I mean, like scattered throughout this movie are these little bits that I really appreciated, and they are legitimately the funniest things that have been in a.
This movie could have been so much better if it was more of him learning to get along with the suit.
Yeah.
The best relationship in this movie was the suit and him.
In many ways, yes.
By far.
By far and away. If they just cut out some of the high school bullshit, I think this would have been a stronger movie. But
Like that's that part where it's like he's doing the dramatic thing where he saves the girl kind of thing, and the suit's like, "This is your time, kiss her." It's like,
yeah, like
that's great.
like I would say like this is some of the funniest parts that have ever been in a cinematic movie. Funnier than Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2. There were certain the best jokes could be found here, but it's just in the sea of like okay, I just don't care about this. And I think that's the final feeling I come away with this is like this is good, but I can't care about it.
I need to find out who the voice actress was for Carol.
Now you got some homework. All right. See you next week.
Yep.
All right. Till next time.